Welcome to the Podium.
What's up?
All right, this is a weekly sports show. We're filming live in Hollywood. Though our boy Russell Dorsey, the Chicago sports journalist, where are you at? Are you at anywhere specifically? Are you actually in the heart of Chicago?
I am not. I'm right outside about miles south, but close enough where my mom worked downtown, my dad worked downtown, I work downtown, so
Good.
it's all good.
You stay safe, brother. You stay safe.
I will do that, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about.
So Russell's a sports journalist. We're comedians, and I found out something terrible today. Russell, what's your age?
I'm 22.
Niles, what's your age?
I'm 22.
I'm 27, and I feel really unaccomplished. I've faced none of the obstacles they've faced, and I'm at below where they're at. So this is like, it was rough. It was a rough day, rough start for me.
We read that Charlemagne the God book, Black Privilege, so it's
Yeah.
that's what got us through.
Do you think there is black privilege?
Hell no. What?
I haven't gotten to read the book. I heard it's pretty good though.
I heard it's pretty good. I'm gonna check it out.
I'm gonna read it and I'll give you my book review.
Right. Is there black privilege though? Where could you? What's the situation you could have black privilege in?
Being able to season food properly.
Basketball tryouts.
Damn. You just jump right into it.
Basketball tryouts.
No Vaseline. He just jump right in.
Yeah, like I said, I gotta read the book.
Right, I gotta read the book.
That's the only one I can think of right now.
I can't think of that. I cannot think of that, man.
All right. Should we get to our bronze topics?
Man, let's jump right into
Get
it.
it.
All right. We organize our topics bronze, silver, gold in order of what's the most important topic of the week. And let's go, Russell. Russell, what is your bronze medal podium topic of the week?
All right, I'm going to the NFL with my bronze medal topic.
Okay.
There were some huge performances this week, including Adrian Peterson, who was resurrected. He got traded last week to the Arizona Cardinals. And, of course, everybody said, you know what? Adrian Peterson, not a good running back anymore. You saw what he did in New Orleans. But actually came to life and had an amazing game. Threw it back to the Vikings days. AP rushed on 26 carries, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns. People were shocked. And it's one of those things when I know Niles, who's a Saints fan, when he went to the Saints, I was just like, I really don't understand this move from either side.
I didn't either.
Mark Ingram already there,
Yeah.
and he just didn't fit the system that the Saints like to run.
Right.
So I wasn't surprised at all when it didn't work.
Yeah.
But get to go play in Arizona, not have to worry about anybody over his back, at least when David Johnson comes back.
Right.
It could be a nice thing for Adrian Peterson to go to Arizona, do well, and then when he gets free agency this summer, maybe somebody offers him a multi-year deal.
Yep. I'm pissed. Not even gonna lie. I'm kind of pissed. I knew, like you said, I knew the AP thing wasn't gonna work, bro. I knew it. All these Saints fans, all these drunk people in Louisiana that I'm related to that don't know nothing about football. AP, we got AP. I was like, man, his 32-year-old ass ain't gonna do nothing in this system that we got, and he didn't. He rushed for more yards and touchdowns in one game with the Cardinals than he did the whole entire time with the Saints, man. That just shows you the system he was in with Arizona just fits him better. I like Adrian Peterson as a player. I'm happy for him. Good for him. But as a Saints fan, I'm pretty pissed.
I think you're not really talking about the big elephant in the room. I don't think he fits the system better. I don't think the Saints utilized him properly.
Exactly.
But so what is it with the Saints? Like, could they not use a guy who's getting 100 yards?
Sean Payton's always done this thing where he tries to do this like three-headed running back system, and with his offenses, and so with the guy who like Adrian Peterson, who literally is a star, that's not really the way he does. I think Adrian Peterson is a back that needs a certain amount of carries to really get that rhythm down. You know what I'm saying? Because like I played football, I know. Like, I know certain backs, after 4 or 5 carries, they've gotten hit a couple times, they got that rhythm, they're ready to go. That's the type of running back Adrian Peterson is. He likes the physicality, he likes to get down. So him just bringing him in as a third down rusher or bringing him in just to pass block sometimes, that's not going to work with his game. He needs a rhythm. And so like when you like we've gotten through it in the past with Pierre Thomas and Darren Sproles, Mark Ingram, Kyrie Robinson, so many. We've had like 50 running backs in the last 5 years because that's the system Sean Payton uses and utilizes. Adrian Peterson's never played in a system like that. He's usually played on offenses that hinge on him having 20 carries, and that needs to open up the game for everybody else. In fact, he's never played with a quarterback at the caliber of Drew Brees either. So I just didn't think that was going to work from the get-go. I was happy, like, okay, that's cool, we got him, but, whatever.
So to talk about, my bad, Eric, but to talk about Niles' point real quick, talking about those workhorse backs that need a couple carries to get the rhythm, get a little lather up before they can get going.
Right.
You look at the NFL this past week, those guys did really well.
Yeah, they did.
I think 9 guys who had over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, that's a good
Some of
way
those top names, guys that you talk about, Jordan Howard with the Bears, 36 carries, 167 yards. Le'Veon Bell, 30 carries, 179 yards and a touchdown. So guys need carries. And when you have a feature back like that, I'd be upset if the Bears split carries with Cohen and Jordan Howard, because you have a workhorse back in Jordan Howard.
Right.
He needs 20 to 25 carries a game to really get going and really be able to produce like he can. So
exactly.
AP needs to be a workhorse. Mm-hmm. Whether he can still do that at 32 remains to be seen. They're only asking him to do it for 10 more games until David Johnson comes back, but maybe he can do it for another team down the road. Who knows?
Yeah.
So you guys saying, like, I guess the analogy would be he's like the basketball player who can only be a starter, can never really come off the bench.
Yeah.
Like he needs like 25 minutes.
For sure.
Okay, I get what you're saying, and I think that's valid, but you mentioned something. This is the best quarterback he has ever been with.
Yeah.
I mean, I am surprised. Do you think?
It would've been nice.
Do you really? I think it's more on Sean Payton. I really feel like he feels like players need to fit his system as opposed to adapting the system for the players.
Right.
And I feel like he got lucky one year when all the stars aligned, but it's proving long term that his strategy of not adapting doesn't work. Look at Bill Belichick. He adapts every game, let alone every year.
Bill Belichick is a player's coach.
And so you got to adjust based off of the situation.
Yeah.
And what they say in boxing, styles make matchups and make fights.
Right.
And I feel like Sean Payton continually goes in the fight, and every boxer knows, this is how he's going to fight. Yep. And then the Saints get knocked out yet again.
One-trick pony.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
Kareem Hunt, another good week on the ground. Just want to throw that in too. So he's dope. Isn't this like he's on pace to have like the best rushing season for a rookie or something like that?
He's pretty close. He has about 600. I think it's like 630 yards rushing.
He's
still leading the NFL.
Yeah.
He's on pace for well over 1,400 yards.
Yeah, he's the first rookie to have over 100 yards rushing in each of his first 6 games. So keep it up, man.
He's prolific.
He's great. Even though they lost for the first time, which we'll talk about that probably later. So.
Yeah, I'm really proud of Adrian Peterson. He took the switch out and he just beat down that team. It was impressive. He hasn't done that in at least a year. He waited and then he took it out. I'm glad he saved it for the grown men this time. Good job. Good job, AP. All day. Anyways, let's move on to Niles' bronze medal topic.
We keeping it in the violence. We're gonna talk about Portis versus Mirotic, the main event fight. This was not an undercard, folks. This is what I say is the Ike and Tina of basketball right now. These dudes sparred in practice like they're getting ready for some UFC fight. What is going on? Coaches, when you tell your players you need to fight for the starting spot, nigga, this is not what we mean. Like, Bobby Portis squared up with this man, Nikola Mirotic, and hit him in his jaw so hard that he fractured his face. What 6'9" dudes do not need to be punching people. Like that's just not something y'all need to do. Blake Griffin punched a ball boy last year. Yeah. Where's all this aggression coming from, guys? Yeah. We need to chill. Like we need some more. Like what is going on?
Well, I think Adam Silver is very appreciative that it's not like Ron Artest,
Right. At least they're not punching fans.
They're keeping it within the practice facility. That's great.
But what is going on with these Bulls, man? Like they don't have any star players. honestly, I think they're lucky if they win 15 games this year. They are god awful. And now probably the best shooter on the team is out for 6 weeks with a broken face because he got punched.
Do you want to know why it's happening?
This is crazy. You never see this on a winning basketball team.
This is why. They are not going to be a winning basketball team. The organization is trying to tank this year. And there is frustration boils when losing is about to happen. Yeah. And they know on levels of epic proportions they're about to lose this year because they've been stripped of players. And guess what? Now they're stripped of another player because I'm sure it was like, you call me Bobby one more time, bam. You know?
Russ, you a Bulls fan. What you think about all this, man?
All right, so this is what one of the sources up here in town.
Uh-oh.
Bobby Portis and Nico Mirotic have been going at this for a while now. It's not new. It's not recent. This has been going on. And so then, of course, those guys are battling for the starting power forward spot on this terrible Bulls team.
Right. All right. One second. Look, there, sit down. We're good to go. No more complications. Let's do it.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. So basically, Nico Mirotic has been in the league for about 3 years now. Right. Probably been playing with black dudes since he's probably 16, 15 years old. But something he's going to have to learn about black people here in the United States, you can't shove a black dude who's 6'10" and expect him not to throw hands at you. That's all I'm saying.
That's
okay. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Makes a lot of sense.
Like, yeah.
Like, shoot, now, what are you, like 5'6"?
Hey. 5'8".
Hey.
I don't even look at nobody that's over 6'4". You know what I'm saying? I don't even look at niggas over 6'4". So
I'm 5'3". Anyone who's above 5'5", I describe as tall. You know, they're tall.
Kevin Hart, Cat Williams.
Yeah, they're all tall to me. Like, they're huge people. But yeah, I think it's tough for Nikola Mirotic because now someone who can't speak probably has trouble speaking English. Now it has even more trouble with the jaw being shut. Just you know, it's just terrible. It's a tough day for him. But
poor guy.
You know, there are people who have worse days, though. You know.
Yeah, there's some people that aren't getting paid $10 million to get punched in the face.
Yeah, so, that's true.
I'll take a shot for Bobby Portis for $10 million.
Yeah, that's true too.
All right.
Should we move on to mine?
Yeah. What's your bronze?
My bronze medal topic is Ezekiel Elliott. Just this Tuesday was granted another legal reprieve to avoid the 6-game suspension from happening, and I'm just wondering for you guys, do you think this is going to be like a cloud over the team, wondering constantly, is Ezekiel Elliott going to be there? Like, what do you think?
And I think it's one of the reasons they're not playing well. I think it could be. I think playing sports all my life, I definitely think there are things that are external that can affect team chemistry, and I think this is definitely one of them. You know, they talk all the time like Kaepernick would be bad for a locker room and all this kind of stuff. Legal trouble is what's bad for a locker room, man. You can just look at it like, I think with this distraction, it hurts how the team is played, and they haven't played up to par this season like they did last year, like the hot start they got on last season. And just with everything just looming over them, just with the fanfare and the paparazzi and all the questions that aren't even about football. They're about Ezekiel. Is Ezekiel going to be back? All these kind of things. And I was at the comedy store the other night. A drunk white Cowboys fan was telling me, basically, with Ezekiel being a Cowboy, he got white privilege with this legal stuff. I was cracking up because it's just kind of true. Like, nobody else would get this kind of leeway in such legal jargon, just crazy stuff, all the stuff these lawyers are trying to do to keep prolonging this. Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, that's what I wanted to get to. Like, the lawyers are prolonging this. It's really interesting that they're the ones who are kind of helping the Cowboys.
Right.
And, you know, they say Jews are not in football. But there are people right now helping the Cowboys. And, you know, I feel like my people should have some jerseys on right now because we are extending the Cowboys season every day. What do you think about this, Russell?
I agree with Niles. I think if you look at how Ezekiel Elliott has played, you know, he's not playing that same energy. But also something to think about is he's been in the league for a year. The league has, I always told people that Jordan Howard was a better running back with Ezekiel Elliott. Anyway, if you look at the offensive line that Zeke had compared to what Jordan Howard had, the Bears' deep offensive line was awful.
Yes.
And the Dallas Cowboys offensive line been the best in the NFL for at least 3 years.
Yeah.
So maybe people have figured out Zeke. That's something else that can go to it.
That's also true. That could also be a factor.
I think it really does affect the team though, and I can't see how it wouldn't. And it's just one of those things, like, he's prolonging it. What if my people don't do their job, and now, like, game 8 he gets suspended, and now he's suspended for the next 6 games, and now it's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now you miss him for the playoffs.
Do the Cowboys make the playoffs this year? Yes or no? What do y'all think?
No.
I'm going no too.
I still think they could, but I don't think. Here's the thing. I think he's gonna get suspended down the road, and it's gonna look foolish. Like, you should have taken him out.
Like, you should have done it already.
Yeah, he would be
Exactly.
exactly.
It would have been over.
Yeah.
That's my point. He would have been done already. You would have already had an excuse for the slump.
Yeah.
And then you would have had him, and he would have been a boost. But now it's just like when is it gonna happen?
It's gonna kill momentum if all of a sudden he just can't play.
This is what happens when you try to extend it and do this trick. I don't feel bad for him. I really don't.
No.
All right.
And he's a Cowboy, so I don't care.
Yeah. So should we move on to the silver medal topics, guys?
Let's do it.
All right, but first we're gonna take a commercial break. We'll be right.
Hello and welcome to Secret Black People Meeting, episode 5. It's Friday the 13th. I had a white friend text me this morning. He said, "Niles, what are you gonna do for Friday the 13th? It's such a special and scary night." I said, "Not a damn thing, bro. I'm black. Every night in this country is scary." I'm moving on to sports. How about them Cowboys, right? Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones publicly stated that his players, if they are caught on a knee during the national anthem, they're automatically benched. So, Jerry, that makes me think, what bench is Candy going to be on this weekend?
All right, and we're back on the podium. That was a commercial, by the way, for Secret Black People Meeting, hosted by our very own Niles Abston.
What's up? Stay black.
Check it out on channel 310. All right, anyway, so we're back, and before we get to the silver medal, podium pockets, we got topics. We still gotta do our bets. We still gotta organize the bets here. We got 5 games that we're gonna pick. Let's start with KC at Oakland. Oakland is a home dog now. Yep. Even though they had Derek Carr back last week, but his back was pretty messed up. He was throwing picks.
Yeah.
And KC, even though they lost to the Steelers, still a 3-point favorite on the road, which means Vegas thinks that they're 6 points better if you take out the home advantage. Yeah. So, who do you think is your pick here?
I'm going
spread.
I'm going Kansas City. I'm going Kansas City by a touchdown, because here's the thing with them. Yeah, they're coming off a loss, but the Raiders are a divisional team, right? So I think for the Chiefs to really cross over into them really wanting to be a title contending team, this is an AFC West showdown. They have to win on the road to really, prove who they are. I mean, because when the Chiefs were 5-0, I think people were just like, whatever. It's different if the Patriots were 5-0. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the Chiefs. And so I think if they win this game, it'll be a real statement. So I say Chiefs by a touchdown in Oakland.
Okay. I really think these rivalry games really change the landscape. Like, what do you think Russell? What do you think do you think the rivalry game will change the fact that it's a divisional game? They know each other pretty well. Do you think that'll change things in this matchup?
No, I actually think it'll be maybe a 10 or more point victory for the Chiefs. Because if you think about it, the Raiders haven't been able to put it all together all year. Even with Derek Carr, even with the 2 receivers they have, even with Marshawn Lynch, even with Khalil Mack, they haven't been able to put a whole game together.
True.
So if you think about that, and the fact that Amari Cooper's been awful this year.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's a big part of their offense that they just haven't had. So I think the Chiefs, coming off a loss, they're going to have a little bit of fire underneath them. Andy Reid's going to get them up in this game and say, hey, we really want to show people why we should be feared in the AFC. Not only in the AFC, but in the NFL. We need to come out and show Oakland who we really are. Right. So I think it might be a long day.
Yeah.
for the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree. As someone who graduated from the University of Utah, I'm not picking against Alex Smith. I think he's going to do very good, and he's gonna cover at least by a touchdown. And, anyways, our next game, Arizona is at the Rams, and if at the beginning of the season you would have told somebody that the Rams would be giving 3.5 points to Arizona, they would say you're crazy, but that is what happened. The Rams were favored at home against Arizona. Russell, what do you think this matchup is going to look like Sunday?
That's a hard game.
Yeah.
And it's only hard because the wild card that Adrian Peterson now is,
Yeah.
I think it really affects. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it froze up. My bad. Yeah, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna start over from the beginning.
No problem.
So if you think about that game, it's a really hard game to pick because if you look at the wild card that Adrian Peterson now is for the Arizona Cardinals, that really adds an interesting dynamic to their offense. And for a long point in that game, Carson Palmer was perfect, like maybe 15 for 15 with 3 touchdowns.
Played very well.
So it's not just AP that was helping him out. But then on the other side, you have the Rams. You have an LA Rams team that has really been playing good football against really good opponents too, and has been coming out on top.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can take the Rams lightly. I like that the 3-point favorite for the Rams. I'm going to take the Rams by 3.
Wow. Okay. I don't know. It's such because, like you said, AP really changes the game now. He's that X factor that I don't think. Of course, the Rams weren't planning on this a week ago, but I think the Cardinals have been very good at stopping the run, and I think Todd Gurley has been just pretty much a godsend for the Rams, moving their offense up and down the field. So I'm just not sold on Jared Goff yet. I'm just not. I can't trust him yet.
Yeah, to me, this is my lock of the week. Arizona is going to beat the Rams.
That's your lock?
Oh, yeah, this is my lock. Here's why. I think Vegas, you're getting 3.5 points. You're telling me Jared Goff is going to beat them by more than a field goal? No, it is not going to happen. Here's why. First of all, Vegas is undervaluing Arizona right now. This is the perfect time to bet on them. They don't know how good Arizona is, which means they're not properly valuing them. This might be the last time you get 3.5 points for them in this type of situation. Also, it's a road game. It's Arizona to LA. And if we know LA, no one shows up for these games. It is going to be an Arizona home game. And to get 3.5 points when it's essentially a home game, there is no home field advantage. We talk about this. Vegas gives 3 points traditionally for a home team. But there is no home field advantage in LA. They should never, ever have that 3 points for an LA team. And I think the Arizona Cardinals are so undervalued. Grab them.
Okay.
All right, the next game, Cincinnati is at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh with a rebound game last week, looking great against Kansas City.
Look like a completely different team.
They are a 5-point favorite. Pittsburgh is.
Wow.
Does anyone have the bravery to take Cincinnati?
I wouldn't pick Cincinnati. I wouldn't pick somebody from Cincinnati to change my tire, dog. Them niggas is trash. Like, straight up, niggas is trash. Buns, as they said in the AC, Russ. Buns.
Yes, I'm doing buns. Shout out to our boy A.
Can I be explained this?
Okay, so have you ever heard somebody say like something is booty, like when it's bad?
Not even that.
Oh God! He don't even have the source material, dog. Anyway, buns is like butt cheeks is bad.
Okay.
If you hang out with us enough, you're gonna hear us say stuff is booty all the time.
Yeah, but that.
All right, bet.
Oh God. Appropriation. Jeremy Lin. No, but the Bengals buns, dog. They're terrible. They have not put a game together this year. I think Marvin Lewis is a terrible coach. Sorry, said it. Whatever, fight me. I say Steelers win by 2 touchdowns.
You know, this is another rivalry game.
Who covers Antonio Bryant on the Bengals defense?
Or Martavis Bryant.
Exactly.
I don't mind taking the Cincinnati Bengals here. It's a rivalry game. These games are actually traditionally pretty close. Traditionally, half the time. There are some blowouts.
They traditionally ass, so I'm going Steelers.
It is really, you know, no one should ever pick Andy Dalton. So I'm just saying, Ben Roethlisberger a week ago was like crying, I don't have it. Oh, and then all of a sudden this week he was like, who said I don't have it? You did. So. You know, I think it could be week to week with Big Ben, and I'm taking a blind pick. I'm swallowing the pill that is Andy Dalton, that ginger, and I'm saying, please, Big Ben, please go back to crying. Oh, I don't know where I am, Jacksonville. I think it's going to happen again with Cincinnati. They have a good front four.
Wow.
Okay. So I think the game of the week, the Super Bowl rematch. Atlanta is at New England.
Uh-oh.
New England is only a 3-point favorite, which means. Vegas thinks this is a even matchup if it was on a neutral site, you know, like the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. It's at New England, right?
I think Vegas is insane. I'm taking the Patriots by a touchdown minimum. What say you guys?
I'm taking the Patriots in a blowout. It's a statement game. I'm taking the Patriots in a blowout. I think this is my lock for the week. I think it's the safest bet to make right here. Drop a bag on this one.
So what's their statement? What's their statement? We are a mediocre team and people can play with us now. If you let the Jets, who should have beat them, almost beat you,
they should have beat
anybody.
That's what I'm saying. The Jets should have beat the Patriots, and they have to prove that they're not mediocre. They have to prove that.
It's too late. You're in week 7 now. Like every week they prove we're not as good as people say we are. People keep picking the Patriots. No, stop. Their defense is 32nd in the NFL in points allowed, in yards given up. They don't get takeaways. Like they're not good.
It's my lock, and I'm sticking with it.
Their defense has Tom Brady, and guess what? They're the Patriots, and you know you can say what you want, but they have the refs in their pocket. Did you see that call against the Jets? There was no way that was a fumble, and you know it was practically reparations for Deflategate, even though Deflategate was their fault. You know it was terrible. It was terrible, but
I don't like any world where Bill Belichick and Tom Brady get reparations. I'm sorry, they have had too much.
Yeah, it's
So you're going Falcons.
Boston's really had a good
I'm going Falcons by 6.
Wow.
2 goals.
I'm going Pats.
I thought I had the gutsiest picks today. That's the gutsiest pick.
I'm going Pats
today.
by 2 touchdowns. Shout out to
it's not gutsy because the Patriots are a bad team, man.
Shout out to my Boston boys, Mark Stevens and Tom Whalen. They love some Tom Brady, man. So I'm going 2 touchdowns for the Pats for them.
All right, we have one last game.
My boy Madison Coleman, he from Mississippi, but he a Patriots fan for some reason. I don't know.
We have to cover the Monday Night Football game. We're going to do this every week. The pick for a Monday Night Football game. Washington is at Philadelphia. Philadelphia is favored by 4.5 points. What do you guys think?
The Eagles are my pick to win the NFC East. I think Carson Wentz is playing the best ball as a quarterback in the NFC East right now. I think their offense clicks the best in the NFC East right now, especially with the Giants struggling, this Cowboys stuff, and then Washington, I'm just not sold. So I think they win the division, and they show why they're going to win the division when they beat the Redskins. I think they beat them by 7.
I think this should be the lock of the week. If you think about it, the Eagles are a much better team than Washington. Washington has no business being in this game.
True.
You know, Kirk Cousins he can play, but he's not that elite quarterback.
You like that?
Want to say he is. So I don't see Washington being in this game longer than the first quarter.
Same.
This is my lock of the week.
Okay.
Honestly, another rivalry game. I think you guys are undervaluing Washington. They never win, but they're pretty close in a lot of these games.
They never win.
I mean, in important games, they always they're kind of like the Lions. They'll screw it up, but they'll make it close.
Yeah.
And if you're getting 4.5 points, And Kirk Cousins versus Carson Wentz. I know you're going to say, oh, Wentz is better. He's on the trajectory to be better. He's still young. He's going to make a lot of mistakes to keep them close. I think Kirk Cousins is going to screw it up in the end, but they'll lose by a field goal as opposed to, a touchdown, and that'll be enough to cover.
So you go Eagles by 3?
I think Eagles will win, but I don't think they'll cover 4.5 points. I don't think they're there yet to consistently cover in a... the one thing with Philadelphia... There's 2 teams in the NFC East. Philadelphia... Actually, if you think about it, all the teams in the NFC East, they don't play very well at home. No. If you think about it now, I just go through it in my head. They all don't play well at home. It's because there's so much pressure.
Yeah.
And their fans will get on you. And so, in the NFC East, when you play at home, it's not always an advantage, especially Philadelphia and New York especially. Yeah. Those are the 2 meanest fan bases. Yeah. And if they're not doing that well, they will boo them. So I think could rattle them. I actually like Washington to hold it close, but, lose. So no batteries we throw.
NFC East, the best reality TV show in sports, man.
Yeah, or the worst, either way. Right. But anyways, wrapped up the picks. Thank you guys very much. Let's go back to our topics. Niles, what's your silver medal podium topic for the day?
My silver medal topic, put some respect on his name, LeBron Raymond James. This dude is the best basketball player in the world. He has been the best basketball player in the world since 2005. Fight me again. This dude is amazing. He says he's not in shape. He says he needs to do better. He went on a 45-minute workout after the game last night. This man had damn near triple-double. He had 29, 16, and 9. What else was there for him to do? I say LeBron is going to be the outright MVP this season, and I think he'll also be the Finals MVP this season. He has consistently gotten better since his prime. It was supposed to end at like 29, 30. Like, he's gotten better into his age, which is crazy. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. Like Nick Wright was saying on Fox Sports, he's at a 14-year prime. What is that? That doesn't make any sense. He's ascended into his 30s. He's amazing. He's the best basketball player in the world. He's unstoppable. And so I'm tired of people saying, like, this dude's going to slow up. He's not. But that's not the point. That's not the point. Just wanted to give LeBron a plug real quick. So LeBron was asked if the letter that Dan Gilbert wrote him in 2009, 10 had anything, was racial in any way. And you know what he said? He said, yeah. LeBron said, yeah. I know it might not be that. I think we all think that in our head, that especially black people, we think that was a racial thing. A lot of people likened it to like owning property and things like that and having all this entitlement over this black dude's life. But for LeBron to say that while also being a Cleveland Cavalier, making Dan Gilbert pay, like you said, so much on this luxury tax every year to keep this team together, it shows you how powerful of an athlete and person LeBron is to have the confidence to say something like that in a press conference and whatever. And so I was like, what do you guys think like this relationship between LeBron and Dan Gilbert is going to be like the rest of the season on this championship run, not knowing if LeBron's going to come back? He's saying things like this. It's just going to be interesting, I think.
Here's my thing with it. I don't think ever since LeBron came back, I don't think he's ever messed with Dan Gilbert like that. Dan Gilbert is just the person that writes things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you think about it in the larger context, Dan Gilbert is not going to have LeBron James cut.
No.
Because you know who's going to come calling? The other 29 teams in the league are going to come calling if you cut LeBron James. Exactly. So he looked like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? He's the one. He wrote, and no irony, but he wrote the check when he put that letter out in 2009 about LeBron, we're going to win the title before the so-called king does and all that. He wrote it.
Yeah.
And he had to crowing bring LeBron back and won. So I don't think their relationship has ever been, buddy-buddy. It never will be buddy-buddy. And to be honest, that's okay. Yeah. He's not going to do anything about it. LeBron can say exactly what he wants. He can say whatever he wants. And then Gilbert is just going to have to write the checks.
Yeah.
I think there's some interesting context to this. Dan Gilbert is obviously very wrong for what he said in the letter.
Right.
And I feel like the way he expressed his frustrations were so childish. But
right.
It is interesting to note that LeBron does have different levels of privilege within the NBA that is really unprecedented.
Yes.
Delonte West once complained about the fact that LeBron would not be able to be criticized by the current coach Mike Brown during film sessions. So in the film, it would be up and be like, Delonte, you screwed up here. And then the next play, LeBron would screw up and they wouldn't say anything.
Wow.
And then Delonte West fucked his mom. And then, but anyways, it's like he's had a lot of privilege, and what did Phil Jackson call him? The posse?
Yeah, the posse.
The posse.
That wasn't cool.
Is entourage appropriate? Is there an appropriate word?
Business group, entourage,
I guess.
whatever. I mean, it's a lot of different
Okay,
things.
well let's go with entourage. His entourage would have privileges also, like riding in the team jets and doing those things that really other NBA players didn't have.
Yeah.
So I get that Dan Gilbert is like frustrated, but the letter is abhorrent. There's nothing else to say about it. It really did have tinges of racism.
Yeah.
And in the end, why are you complaining, Cleveland Cavaliers guy? It's like it's like complaining about Jim Brown coming to the Browns.
Yeah.
Like, it's the best player in the league. Suck it up and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, you just have to deal with what you have to deal with. Michael Jordan, he got cheaped out by his Jerry Reinsdorf.
Yeah.
He should have been paid more, honestly.
Yeah.
And he honestly was asking for trades very similar to Jerry, and he didn't get his way. And so LeBron looked at that and learned from Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And guess what, Dan Gilbert? That's what you have to deal with.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I think it just really speaks to the power dynamic in the NBA in regards to the NFL, like how much power the players have that are stars in the NBA. Because Jerry Jones wouldn't be caught in this kind of situation. Like, he wouldn't. No, I think a player would be scared to even address something like this. You wouldn't even, in fact, you wouldn't get to ask a Dallas Cowboy a question like that. And so it's just like, it's just so crazy how the players in the NBA are really kind of grabbing this league by the neck. Like, I think something crazy is going to happen in the NBA within the next couple of years. Like, I think these contracts, I think what we've seen with the Players Association with the contracts, I think it's just the iceberg of what it is. And I think especially with endorsements and things where the league is going, the players are going to have like a lot more power than we're seeing right now. So it's going to be interesting. LeBron.
All right, does that wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, Russell. Let's get to your silver medal topic.
Kind of in that same vein of opening night in the NBA on Tuesday, there was some really good games. Of course, you have the Cavs and Boston. Kyrie Irving coming back home. Gordon Hayward playing in his first game in a Boston Celtics uniform, and unfortunately, very quick into that debut, just a really horrific injury for Gordon Hayward. He dislocated his tibia. It's just an awful injury. But then you look up and there's almost the whole game left. And for the Boston Celtics to be able to stay focused in that game after what happened to Gordon Hayward, it's actually pretty remarkable. And if you think about it, it really forced a couple of question marks that I had for them for the season to really Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
I didn't know how those two players were with Gordon Hayward or without Gordon Hayward.
They played well.
Basically, they play in the same position. Both have strengths, both have their weaknesses, but both of them play really well. Jaylen Brown had 25 points on his board in 4 minutes, and Jason Tatum had, I believe, 16 points and 9 rebounds.
Right. So
both of them played really well. And Gordon Hayward will probably be out this whole season.
Yeah.
And those two guys are going to be really good, especially if Boston looks to remain as one of the powerhouses in the East.
Yeah.
So that was a really big thing last night. And then in the second game, we had Golden State taking on Houston.
Yeah,
a little trouble in paradise for the Warriors who lose on their banner raising and the ring night, like most teams do, to be honest.
Right.
But their defense was a little porous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Houston usually the team noted for not playing great defense, but it was Golden State who had their deficiencies.
Right.
Of course, we talk about it all the time. Me and Niles do that. Steph Curry is barbecue chicken.
Exactly.
Anybody's best player should go after him at all times.
All times.
But with Draymond out in this knee injury, Draymond can cover up a lot of deficiencies. There's only a few players who can do that.
Yeah.
If you look at Jimmy Butler, you look at LeBron, if you look at Kawhi Leonard, those are the players he's on defense. But with Draymond being hurt and not being 100% with that knee, it's really gonna put a blow to the Golden State Warriors team defense.
Yeah.
You know, and so that'll be really interesting to go forward. Of course, they had. We talked about a couple weeks ago with Nick Young. He showed out that first game.
Yeah, he
and
did.
showed why, even though they might be the best defensive team as they were in years past, that team can still put up 120 points on you in a heartbeat.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah, I don't think enough people are talking about the Warriors-Rockets game just because just all the theatrics in the game that came on before. But yeah, the Warriors look very good out the gate on offense, but yeah, on defense they look very just kind of nonchalant. And of course, it's the first game of a long regular season. I do get that. But they didn't look that good on defense. And James Harden looked really good on offense. They made James Harden look even better than I think he actually is. Like James, he tore him up. Because at the end of the game, I saw some footage where they were right before the little game interviews. Chris Paul was just like yelling at James Harden. He was like, he can't guard you, talking about Klay Thompson. Because the Warriors boast how good of a perimeter defender Klay Thompson was. I didn't see it though. I didn't see it the other night. I didn't. James Harden was cooking him and anybody else that came to try to check him with a white jersey on the other night. And Chris Paul, I don't think enough credit's been given. He only had 4 points, and he really led that offense well with his 11 assists. But I think I was kind of skeptical of how him and James would work. But I mean, it looked good. I'm not sold on the Rockets, and I'm not gonna say they're gonna beat the Warriors in a series or anything. But it was a cool game to watch. Then with the Celtics thing. Jason Tatum playing late into the fourth quarter, I was very surprised by that and very surprised by his composure and poise. He made the right plays. He didn't take any bad shots. He passed when he needed to. He shot when he needed to. And Jaylen Brown, I think he's going to be a superstar. I think he's going to be a player like Jimmy Butler that after about 2 or 3 years of development becomes a superstar in this league after being kind of passed over by a couple teams. I think a lot of teams are going to be kicking themselves if they didn't draft him. So, yeah. Oh, and Cleveland. What about them Nike ripped jerseys? That was weird, you know. That's why I put up fake. I'm just glad Nike don't make condoms because all y'all will be buying them. So I'm just glad because them jerseys was like I don't know that because he was the second one, right? It was a Laker player that theirs ripped in the preseason, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Who was that first? It was one of those preseason games.
Yeah.
Somebody had a ripped jersey.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Seth Curry?
It might have been.
Yeah.
But yeah. Cleveland looked good though. I think they're gonna be decent.
I liked.
One thing to talk about. My bad, Eric.
No problem.
How Kyrie Irving and the Cavs kind of had their moment after the game. Of course, you couldn't write a better ending to that game. Kyrie with the ball in his hand.
Yeah.
At a chance for a game time 3 with LeBron guarding him. Of course, he misses the shot. But even after that, he gives LeBron some love. They have their old handshake.
Yeah.
And then Kyrie goes over and does his old handshakes with all his former Cavs teammates. And that was really cool to see.
Yeah, no
they were
love
able to
lost.
put all that exercise that had been leading up to the game and just having that moment together. Because, I mean, honestly, these was a family. You're not going to always look eye to eye with your family. So it was cool that they had that moment.
Yeah, I'm glad there's no love lost there. That was cool.
I thought the unsung hero of the Rockets game was really Eric Gordon. I thought he stepped up.
He has got to stay healthy.
The one thing about the Rockets, though, is they're very prone to injuries because they have a lot of players who, on other teams, they were given roles that were bigger and too much for them. But now they're in the perfect position 1 through 12 of what they're assigned to do. Trevor Ariza on certain teams was given too much, and then on this team it's the perfect amount. Eric Gordon. There's a list of guys
Ryan
where
Anderson.
Yeah, Ryan, and if you go down the line, if really any Jenga piece falls from this tower, it's really going to affect them going forward. And so I worry about that.
Yeah.
With the Celtics, I really like Jason Tatum and the way he stepped up.
He's amazing.
Kyrie Irving is really offensively.
He has no weaknesses on offense.
His shot seems to have improved. So did LeBron's. Both their strokes looked really good. It was a really good night for the NBA. I think everyone was really happy. Russell, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
why did Gordon Hayward? Why did he leave the Utah Jazz? It was so he could join a cast in the Boston Celtics. It was that's what happened. That's why fuck you, Gordon Hayward. As a Utah Jazz fan,
You a hater, bro.
I could say
No, you don't even live in Utah anymore because it sucks. Like, how you gonna be mad at Gordon Hayward?
Do you want to know why I'm a Utah Jazz fan? Because Utah sucks, and I had to go through that, and I am repping them so hard because I had to go through those scars. There are scars in my heart.
How you gonna make a man that's not from Utah live his life in Utah? Like,
Exactly.
I don't care. Rudy Gobert, they were about to do something, and here's the thing.
Ricky Rubio.
I thought my Gordon Hayward voodoo doll worked, but it was probably, it's Utah. It was probably the prayers of Mormons. And if you think about it,
Stupid, bro.
I was thinking, does karma exist? Does God exist? But now I'm thinking, does Mormon God exist? As a Jew, I'm thinking we've been wrong for 5,700 years. Maybe we should think about going to Mormonism.
So Gordon Hayward getting hurt is gonna make you switch religions now.
It's clearly proof that Mormons were right. I mean, they have been praying since he left. Break a leg, break a leg. Because here's how Mormons work. They're really passive aggressive. So as Gordon was leaving, they were just like they're trying to be sweet. And they're like, hope you break a leg in Boston. And then he just left, and that was it, and people were thinking, the Mormons, they want me to do well. No, they literally wanted you to break a leg in Boston.
Man, get better, Gordon. All the best for you, bro. I don't blame you. If I
Right.
was a rich white dude, Boston would be the first place I would go to.
Well, the reason why Russell is wearing black because he's attending the funeral of Gordon Hayward, and I feel bad, I feel bad, but I don't feel bad.
So many offensive sound bites this episode.
Yeah, I'm getting a reel to not be hired ever.
We losing all the sponsors.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's really no graceful way to segue into this topic. This is a really touchy topic, but a really brave topic as well. McKayla Maroney in this whole Me Too thing where women are coming out about their abuse in a very brave way. McKayla Maroney dropped a bomb.
Yeah.
She mentioned a name, the U.S. gymnastics doctor, Dr. Nassar. She alleged that there was drugging and abuse involved. And first,
when she was as young as 13.
Yeah, first of all, pretty much as brave as it gets.
Yeah. For sure.
I know she's gotten a gold medal, but this is really, to call out somebody like that, that's a real accomplishment.
Yeah. Because he already had some things pending, on trial now. So her coming out and giving her statement and saying what happened to her specifically will probably have some influence on what happens to him going forward. Because that's just terrible. And I really hope. I hope to God it doesn't come out that people a part of Team USA Gymnastics knew what was going on and was covering for him, like this whole thing with Weinstein, where there were people covering for Weinstein. I hope that's not what's happening. Because it's just like, when you look at gymnastics and you look at a lot of these Olympic sports, you see these small children, like swimming and golf and Olympics, you see these small children being treated like professional athletes, and you just hope to God those kids aren't getting treated badly or being abused. And so when something like this happens to a girl like Maroney, she was 15. She was like America's little sweetheart during the Olympics, man. Like, she was a meme. She was a popular meme. She won all those. Like, it was great. Like, she was like a big crush for me when I was in high school. Like, I was like, damn, I love McKayla Maroney. She's like whatever.
And she was clutch.
And she was so clutch. And so it's just like, you see these accomplishments they make, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. She said some weird things happened before she won that silver medal and the gold medal as a team. So it's just like, she's winning these big events on national television around the world after being sexually abused. That's crazy. As an athlete, I can't even fathom something like that. And so, just like you said, so brave. One, for her to not let those things stop her athletically to compete. I just think that's amazing. And then two, to have the bravery to come out and say these things, because so many times in America, when women do come out and be honest about their sexual assault, we usually tend not to believe them or shut them down. So big ups to her. Hope she's doing okay with everything, with all that, what is going on. Because I know it's just a real touchy time and subject right now. So
yeah.
For me, I think you guys hit the nail on the head, but I hope a lot of parents heard exactly what you said. Because I think what people don't really realize when it comes to youth sports, you're trusting strangers.
Yeah.
You're trusting strangers to have your children's best interests at heart. You're trusting strangers to take care of your kids as if they were their own. You're trusting strangers with their lives, with their emotions, with everything.
Yeah.
When you have somebody as powerful and power in the sense of his position as the team's doctor and power in the sense of an adult, somebody she's trusted. That's really unfortunate when you think about how she was taken advantage of, and who knows how many other athletes in that way.
It's so disgusting because he was the doctor.
It's really sad.
It's ridiculous. It's just like I have like just to lighten the mood. I have a little funny story. Like I remember being a kid playing Pee Wee football, and one of my friends, his Pee Wee football team went 0-8. They were terrible, and they had all the smallest kids in the league. And we came to find out it was because the dude that was going to be their coach purposely picked all the smallest kids in the pool to be on his football team so he could do stuff to them. And they found out. They found out who this dude was. They did background checks, everything. And so this kid's dad, so one of the kids on the team's dad had to take the reins of the team, like Will Ferrell in that movie, or like Bad News Bears, with this everybody on the team's 80 pounds. And it was so sad to watch. But it was just a funny running joke. Y'all know what could have happened to you. They're all 18, 19, 20.
Oh, so they all were saved?
Yeah, nothing happened. Thank God.
Oh, okay.
Basically, because what they would do is a pool of children, and you pick from each neighborhood. He picked the smallest kid from every thing because he was trying to, And so they caught on to what this dude was doing. They did some background checks. For some reason in the South, background checks are the last resort apparently, which is ridiculous. And so, basically, because of that coach, a lot of things changed on the Pop Warner Pee Wee circuit. But my boy Josh, I remember he was the best player on this team. It was just terrible. Everybody was literally you seen that movie Little Giants? That's literally their team. And it was because so the coach could take advantage of them. And so this kid's dad, one of the kid's dads had to coach the team and take it over. And it was it was the funniest thing in the world. They were so bad.
That's scary. I probably would have been the number one draft pick.
It was crazy, bro. Yeah, you would have been the number one draft pick.
Yeah, that's.
It's you seen that movie Horrible Bosses where Jason Bateman was I can't go to jail. You know what they would do to me? It was literally that was the football team, bro.
But dude,
it's crazy. You trusting grown people with kids and things can go wrong. So we have to have better parameters. And I was this is Team USA. This isn't some podunk youth football league in the middle of nowhere.
These are 5 of the most famous.
Exactly. They were the Fab Five or whatever you want to
Fierce 5, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I really think to wrap it up, 1% of sexual abusers, they say, or even less, are caught. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are afraid to speak out because of those statistics and many others. And I think what McKayla Maroney did was incredibly inspiring today and really brave. And I hope that it affects others because it's something that there's a lot of emotions that go into it that I couldn't even understand.
Seriously.
But all I know is that she impressed the hell out of me. Yeah. And we at the Podium, we want to thank you, McKayla Maroney.
Because hopefully this changes things, because I think in America too much, when we think of sexual assault and rape, we think of some weirdo hiding behind a bush that's jumping out and grabbing a girl. No, they're usually sexually assaulted by people who are in proximity to them the most. Who are around them the most. And so when you have a team doctor around 14 and 15-year-old girls, this happens. When you have somebody who's spending the night at the coach's house, you have an aunt and an uncle and these kind of things. So it's a lot of times it's these people that are around us at all times. And so you have, unfortunately, in these spaces where you think your kids should be able to trust these people, you still have to vet them, and we just got to be more careful.
Yeah, it points to the fact that we need to split up the supervision so that there's a division of power, so that at least there is supervision of the supervisors of the kids. Yeah. This was a really interesting topic. This was really tough, but we talked about something really tough, but I think we did it pretty well. And thank you, McKayla Maroney. You're very impressive. After this commercial, we'll be right back.
Hey, that's what it look like this nigga been doing all day in them raggedy ass pants taking a knee.
Hey, you know what David just did there? He broke the fourth wall. But usually when he does that, he goes, "Oh yeah!"
And we're back from the podium. You just saw a commercial for a roast battle I did, and it was like, one of the few times I was funny. So check that out. Check that out on Channel 310.
Very good battle, man.
All right, yeah. So back to the program, the podium. We are at our gold medal topics. We each chose what we think are the biggest sports stories of the week. So Russell, what do you think is the biggest sports story this week?
For me, it's still the MLB postseason. Some terrific games. Well, at least on the American League side, we'll take that one first. The Houston Astros and the New York Yankees going at it. The Astros started out hot, won 2 games. Maybe shouldn't have won the second game, but a really heady play by Jose Altuve running on the outfield defense of the Yankees.
Yeah.
And he scores a game-winning run in Game 2. And then here come the Yankees when the series moves back to New York. Win 2 games, and the series is tied at 2. And of course, they're playing right now as we speak. And so I really think the Yankees might be the better team in this series. A lot of people like to say, well, the wild card team doesn't deserve, quote unquote, to be there. But if you look at the Yankees, they really had to work after that wild card game where their ace, Luis Severino, had a tough time, made it out of that. And then Aaron Judge has come alive here in the last 3 games. So, the Yankees are a scary team. They really could be vying for a spot in the World Series.
Yeah.
And if you on the other side, you have the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have been the best team in baseball for the majority of the 2017 season, really taking it to the Chicago Cubs, who look like they're out of it right after that game-winning walk-off 3-run home for Justin Turner in Game 2. I really think that was finally on the Cubs' coffin this season.
Yeah.
Sometimes in baseball, you just go cold at the wrong time,
Yeah.
and the Cubs just went cold. Your hitters, Chris Bryant, and Rizzo. I wrote about it for Baseball Prospectus. That's the motor that drives the team.
Yeah.
So those guys aren't hitting, and nobody else is hitting around them. They're not going to win games. It doesn't matter how good your pitching is. So 2 really interesting series, 2 really different series. If you look at the intrigue on both sides, you think the Cubs would have given a little bit more, but you can blame it on fatigue from that NLDS with the Nationals. You can blame it on the fact that guys aren't hitting. You can blame it on the fact that their manager has made some questionable decisions. Ultimately, what it comes down to is that the Dodgers are a better team.
Yes.
All the way around. They're better hitters this year. They have better pitching. They have the best bullpen in baseball.
Yeah, we do.
And it just might be their year. Like last year was a Cubs year.
Yeah.
Everything went right. Everything went their way. And the one thing that people are forgetting about the Dodgers, they're still without their best player, Corey Seager.
Exactly. I've been explaining that to
That's
so many people.
amazing. So when they get to the World Series, Corey Seager will be in the starting lineup hitting
Yep.
third.
Mm-hmm.
So that, the Dodgers are the real deal, and it's hard for me seeing anything stopping that train.
Let me ask you something, Russell.
Yes, sir.
You said you can blame this, you can blame this, you can blame this. But I want to ask, what do you blame? Let's assume this is the autopsy of the Cubs season. What do you think was really the tipping point? Was the pitching, like Wade Davis, throwing his arm out? Was it something they could have done in the middle of the season? Like, should they have traded for Justin Verlander instead of Houston? Because I know they were in the running for that. Or was it just the fact that you just came off of a historic run where you broke a 100-year curse and mentally it's exhausting to come off of that? What do you think is truly the autopsy of the season?
Yes. It's a little bit of everything. If you look at the moves Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer made in the middle of the season, they were all the right moves.
Yeah.
They went out to Detroit and got Justin Wilson, left-handed reliever, who was elite at the time they got him. They got Alex Avila to be their backup catcher. Justin Wilson has pitched one time in this postseason and has been awful for the Cubs since he came from Detroit. Now, that doesn't mean that's a bad move.
Right.
At the time, that was a pitcher everybody in baseball wanted to get.
Next season,
So sometimes the moves you make don't work out.
Exactly.
That's the nature of baseball. Also, I do think the World Series hangover had something to do with it. The Cubs 100 years after not winning a World Series and you finally win one, you do every interview. You're doing every endorsement deal. You're taking the trophy everywhere. You're on Saturday Night Live. Like, you're doing a little bit of everything. Yeah. And you don't get adequate rest. And I don't think people really realize you need rest as an athlete. You're going hard, especially in baseball, for 8 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And then having to get yourself back in shape after 2 months and then go to spring training. Like, it's a really serious thing. And then, honestly, I just think, they just got cold.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to catch a hot team. In most sports, if you catch a hot team, that team's going to win.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. The Cubs were not the hot team in this postseason.
Yeah. Well, you guys know, as a Dodgers fan, I'm a little biased, but I think this has been one of the most exciting MLB playoffs in a couple of years, I would have to say. It's been really cool. I think the matchups have been great. As a Dodgers fan, I don't want to play, like you said, I don't want to play the Yankees. I would much rather play the Astros. Matchup-wise, I think the Yankees are hitting the ball just very well right now. Aaron Judge is just a monster. And I'm not saying like I'd love to pitch to Jose Altuve either, but it's just I think the Yankees are the better team right now. Like as you said, like you just hot at the right time, and so I'd rather play the Astros as a Dodgers fan. But I was at Game 1 against the Cubs. Amazing atmosphere, sellout crowd. Puig homered. It was crazy. He flipped the bat. It's a really cool run we're on right now. I think. As my friend Kanye said, like you can get through anything, and Magic made it. Magic Johnson said we're gonna win the World Series. We're gonna win the World Series. We don't have no other choice. So Justin Turner, the tear he's been on, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs over the last couple games. That walk-off home run was ridiculous. That was crazy. He had a great game the game before as well with a couple RBIs, and I think everything is clicking at the right time. And I thought one of the good things was Game 1, Clayton Kershaw didn't exactly pitch his best, and we still won the game because we hit the ball well. And so over the last couple of years, Clayton Kershaw has kind of struggled in marquee games in the playoffs, and I think us getting over that hump with him not pitching his very best, I think he did an okay job. We still won the game, so I think that gave the team a lot of confidence moving forward. I think they feel like you can do pretty much anything right now. And like you said, with the different pickups, like when we picked up Yu Darvish, that could have either gone great or gone bad, and so far it's gone pretty well. And so he's pitched well in the playoffs. I think we got like you said, I think we got the best bullpen. I think we take it, man. Astros and Yankees, whatever. I'm gonna go to at least one game if we make the World Series. So I'm excited.
Well, I can tell you this. Do you know who wants to see the Dodgers versus the Yankees?
The MLB.
Yeah, the commissioner of the Major League Baseball. Because the ratings, LA versus Houston
2 biggest markets
versus LA versus the Yankees. It's insane. You get to bring out all the old New York Dodgers fans.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that are really interesting.
The two best rookies in the game would square off in what's Aaron Judge and it was Cody Bellinger. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, Cody Bellinger, Aaron Judge face off. That'd be awesome. I think. The CC Sabathia, what he's doing right now is ridiculous.
He is 9-0 for the Yankees, coming off of a Yankees loss. Every time they lose, they go to him and he wins, and that is.
And he's like the oldest pitcher to do what he's doing right now, right in the playoffs or something like that. He's 38? Like CC is.
He's up there, upper 30s.
He's a beast. That dude's huge too, man.
To me, he's like CC of old. When CC was winning Cy Young Awards.
Yeah, he could with Cleveland, yeah.
He's a dark horse candidate to win the MVP this year if the Yankees win the championship.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he has really been the backbone of that team.
Yeah, and I think the Dodgers win. Justin Turner would probably be my MVP. He's definitely been, like you said, with Rizzo and Bryant. I think he's been the motor in the lineup these past couple weeks. So yeah.
All right, so Niles, what do you think is your podium topipic, the gold medal?
My goal, man, taking it back to the NFL, this Aaron Rodgers injury has, I think, completely shooken the league. Because, just last week, I said, I think you said it as well, the Packers were our picks to win the NFC North because Aaron Rodgers was just looking great, the offense was healthy. And then, literally 2 days later, he breaks his collarbone. And I feel for Mike McCarthy. He thinks the hit was dirty. I don't really think the hit was dirty. I think it's just football.
I think the follow through was excessive, but then again, 10 years ago we would have never talked about it.
Exactly. So I was like, it was a football play.
Yeah.
And I mean, quarterbacks, they do wear the least amount of padding. So, I think Aaron Rodgers breaking his collarbone completely changes the power structure in the NFC. I think it gives the Eagles a better shot at making the Super Bowl. Now the Cardinals are better. It gives the Cardinals a better shot at winning the Super Bowl. And now somebody else has to win the NFC North. Because I'm a big UCLA fan. I love Brett Hundley. He's not winning the division for the Packers. I'm sorry. I know he's been in the McCarthy system for 3 years.
Yep.
Mike McCarthy lied to the media and said he was confident in him. No, you're not. Shut up. Like, bro, you're not. And so the Packers might finish last in the division now. They were my pick to win the division because you have to have a quarterback to win in the NFL. And Aaron Rodgers was the guy. And so they went from that one injury literally took them from being a Super Bowl contender, I think almost a lock, to not even winning their division. So it completely changes the landscape in the NFL. I know whoever's in the AFC who is definitely foaming at the mouth now because now you don't have to face Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl, and whoever's in the NFC, you don't have to face Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau. You don't have to do that anymore. Going to Lambeau in the playoffs is awful. So what do you guys think is going to happen in the NFC with Aaron Rodgers kind of off the table now?
Niles, I think you're absolutely right with everything you're saying, especially as far as the landscape of the NFC goes. You have a team like Atlanta that's played awful football, and now Mike can come back to the Packers a little bit as one of the favorites in the NFC.
Yeah.
Julio Jones hasn't played well this season.
No, he hasn't.
So Julio can come back. Matt Ryan can start playing well. They can start playing a little bit better on defense and actually win some of these games.
Yeah.
If you look at the NFC North, the Vikings are a good team. Now, they got getting Bridgewater back here in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So with the injury to Sam Bradford and a defense that's pretty good and receivers that are really good, they might be able to do something. Jared McKinnon has been doing really well, too, as their running back ever since they lost Dalvin.
He's doing well.
Exactly. So you look at the Lions, they can put up 35 points anytime.
Yes.
At any time, right? And then you look at the Chicago Bears, who are in the cellar of the division. They even have a small little window.
Exactly.
And if you look at the Bears in comparison of the Packers now, here's a quarterback who they trust.
Yeah.
The Bears played a lot better since Mr. Trubisky took over that job as starting quarterback. They have confidence and they're the 6th-ranked defense in the NFL.
Yeah. If I'm Matthew Stafford, I'm juiced right now. You're the best quarterback in the division. Prove it. You know what I'm saying? Like, prove it. If you
got the money.
Exactly. You can put 35. Now you don't have to worry about the Packers putting 35 back on you. So it's just like prove that you're the best quarterback in the NFC North now that Aaron Rodgers is hurt.
Well, to me, in the NFC specifically, you got to look at the great quarterbacks, and to me, it's Russell Wilson.
Cam Newton.
And Cam Newton, he's been there. Russell Wilson and Cam Newton, those are the two you got to look at in the NFC and say they have a real opportunity here because now Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, those are the two big roadblocks in each conference.
Right.
And when one of those gets knocked out, that's your year.
Yeah.
It really is, especially in the NFC. And it's wide open. This might be the most wide open NFL year. Last week we thought the Chiefs were the best team, and they still might be, but do we really think that they're going to be the most dangerous team? I mean, this is a wide open year. Anyone can really win it.
Yeah.
And this, unfortunately, is good news for a lot of teams, but it's bad news for the
slow starts.
But it's bad news for the NFL because
I want to see Aaron Rodgers play.
Well, not only that, but there was no great team that was emerging, and we need great teams to look at and to root against and for. And right now, it's just kind of a scrum. It's just no teams are standing out. They're all within the pack of each other.
Yeah, even the teams that are doing well, you don't really trust because it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like somebody can knock you off at any week, you know. So just like with the Chiefs, you start off 5-0 and you lose to Pittsburgh, who looked like they couldn't even play football the first month we were in the league. So.
And it's really bad for the NFL in general. You lose one of your big stars.
It's the face of the league. Man.
You might be the face of the league. It's really the only injury to a white guy that really made anyone sad this week.
Why do you have to make everything about race?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
J.J. Watt.
No one cares about
J.J. Watt.
No one cares about Gordon Hayward. Is what I'm saying.
Chill. Hey,
Bro,
but-
I think a lot of people except you care about Gordon
Hey,
Hayward.
I'm gonna call Gordon, bro. He gonna square up. But hey, I know
You
this.
gonna call Bobby Gordon?
Right. Bobby Portis gonna come lay them hands on you, dog.
Right.
Hey, but I do know this one guy that he grew up in Milwaukee. He's a big Brett Favre fan. He's a big Packers fan. Happens to have a pretty good arm. He's out of a job right now, and he plays quarterback.
Can I squash this? When you just lost a quarterback to a broken collarbone, why not get the guy who's most infamous for having a season end with broken collarbones? I mean, not a good idea. But I have a question. Previewing my gold medal podium topic.
Yeah.
What if this team added Kaepernick, the Packers? Could they be back into being a great team?
I don't think they'd be a great team. They would be a dangerous team, though. That's how I would put it. They'd be a dangerous team.
Well, would they make the playoffs?
I don't know.
With Colin Kaepernick.
Like you said, it's a wide open league.
But
They
look,
can
I
have
have to look at it as the NFC North. Would they win the NFC North with Colin Kaepernick?
I'd take Kaepernick over Trubisky any day. And who's the starting quarterback for the Vikings right now?
It's Sam
I
Bradford.
don't know.
Okay, so and N/A for the Vikings. I'd take Cap over to both of those teams.
That's what I'm getting at.
So it's just like I don't want to just throw out my eggs in one basket and say yes, the Packers are a playoff team to add Cap. But I would say their chances of making the playoffs are increasingly better instead of riding with Brett Hundley off of pride.
I agree with you, but let me pose this question to you. Now, you know me, I'm a guy that thinks Cap should have been had a job. But
Exactly.
now we're week 7. And
Week 7, it's late.
Cap hasn't played football now in over almost a year,
Right.
right? So is he going to be in football shape or regular shape?
Hey, I went on a Black Lives Matter march one time. My legs got pretty toned, so I don't know. I think
So, and you know what I'm saying? So quarterbacks, you can be out of shape and still play well.
Jay
Before a guy works off of athleticism and arm strength, I don't know how well he would do at this point in the
he's
season.
not your prototypical pocket passer that can just jump right in and So
This is so prejudicial. You're saying Tony Romo, pocket passer, could come in. But
I don't think Tony Romo could come in and
Tony Romo could do it.
Okay, that's what I say. Colin
Yeah,
Kaepernick.
sure.
I'm telling you, Colin Kaepernick. I look at some of the quarterbacks around the league. I would take fat Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, for sure.
I would take fat Colin Kaepernick
said
over
give
Jay
it a-
Cutler any day.
I say give it a. I in no way you're saying no. I say give it a shot, but don't expect to be a world beater with this guy coming in at week 7.
I'm no dummy. Like, these guys are trash, but they've been trash and been training all this time. Like, we can't take Colin off the street and put him in a uniform and expect him to put up 300 yards. Like,
What I
it
have
doesn't
been
work like
hearing
that.
is he has been training and he has been working out and things like that. But that is a lot different than being in a practice type setting with a team. So
Well, let's just get right to my gold medal podium topic. Colin Kaepernick has officially filed grievance against the NFL owners
get your money, nigga.
for colluding against him. And
Collusion.
yeah, for those of you who know,
Collusion.
for those of you who don't know, collusion is when a bunch of people behind the scenes
White
act
people.
together. Yeah, or Jews.
Black people don't collude. We ain't got time for all that.
But anyways,
Plenty of black people that have collusion in their time, but that's another show.
At the barbershop.
Right.
That's collusion. That's collusion at its finest.
Yo, wait. I have one. Because we talked about it. Black people have colluded against OJ. Because colluded against Tiger. He's
that's great.
Colluded against people for a while.
Stacey
now.
Dash.
actually, you know what? Now I think about it. Do you know who the recent collusion? Ray Lewis. I didn't even know about it. I wasn't at the. I was not.
He's starting to collude against Ray a little bit. Ray. Yeah.
I was not at the hashtag Secret Black People meeting when they decided Ray Lewis was not cool anymore. I was still like Ray Lewis, and everyone was like no, and it was awkward.
We ain't F with Ray in
Man.
good 3-4 years, bro.
Yeah, it's rough. But do you guys think? Let's just really quickly. If you were a juror.
Yeah.
Let me finish the sentence before. Would you file?
I'm not a black person in this case, am I?
I'm not. I'm just saying your brain. You know, would you look at this and say they're colluding?
Me, no doubt about it. Because because when you look at it, it's almost laughable at the fact that he couldn't get a job. I mean, Russ even said you literally can make a list of quarterbacks that have taken snaps this season that I'm better than. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they signed guys who haven't played in years. They signed guys who their last credit was in arena football. I think one dude was in Any Given Sunday with Jamie Foxx and got a contract, bro. Like, it's ridiculous. And the way that these owners have tried to save face with linking arms is because they know they messed up. And I think this lawsuit really caught the NFL by surprise. It caught me by surprise. I didn't know you could do this. And that's why I think Colin Kaepernick's white side is coming out. Niggas don't sue. We didn't know you could do this kind of stuff. And so it's just like, bro, like this is something unprecedented. It's going to be sports history regardless if he wins or not, because the fact that I think he's suing for the right thing in collusion, because it's going to spark an investigation and a conversation that these owners have too much power and what they're doing is wrong. And I think the NFLPA is probably going to gain more power regardless if this suit wins or not.
Here's my take. So, Eric, to answer your first question, yes, as a juror, I definitely think collusion took place here. You can see it if you look around. Any knowledgeable person about football, even if not knowledgeable about football, you would look and see that there is an obvious need for quarterbacks throughout football. Guys get hurt every day. In practice, walkthroughs, in games, guys get hurt.
Yeah.
And so you can't tell me that a guy with the resume of Colin Kaepernick and with the skills of Colin Kaepernick couldn't be a backup. He should be a starter, let alone a backup. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, collusion has definitely taken place. Here's the issue. When it comes to filing suit or filing a grievance against someone, it's very hard to prove collusion in any sport, and here's why. Yeah. You have to prove collusion. You have to prove that it took place, and it has to be written down. Yeah. It has to. You have to have actual visual evidence that it took place, and there was no evidence that this took place, unless they were stupid enough to record it, saying we're not going to sign this guy. Yeah. Think of the last time something like this took place. It was during the MLB strike, where owners came together and colluded against players. Not one player specifically, but the players' union. Yeah. And they wrote about it. Like, they visibly had the writing from the owner. And so it's very hard to prove collusion. Yeah. I think it's awesome that he at least pursued it. Yeah. But it's gonna be really hard to make this happen.
I'm just glad he did, because it's gonna spark at least a conversation and how much power these guys have.
But Russell makes the good point. It's very hard to prove in a court of law.
I wonder who those lawyers are.
So I would actually like to help the lawyers right now. I can give you the defense right now. You stand up, you say, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, they signed Brandon Whedon before they signed Colin Kaepernick.
There you go.
The defense rests, and then you want. Yes.
That nigga Brandon Whedon 43, dog. He my dad's age, bro.
He's like a 43-year-old ginger who can't throw. I mean, come on, Colin Kaepernick. I wish he was on my team currently. The Dolphins would be 5-1 if we had him. I'll tell you that right now. We would be so much better. But we're going to lose the Jets this week because we have Smoking Jay Cutler. Yeah. And so I can tell you right now, as a Dolphins fan, I can prove through a lot of Jay Cutler game tape that at least one owner is colluding against Colin Kaepernick. So I know at least one owner is, because we got a bum for a quarterback.
That's hilarious.
Anyways, so yeah, I think you guys have anything else to say on this topic?
Oh man, winner circle, right?
All right. So we have the winner circle for today. I am so excited. We organize a podium of the 3 best, people of the week and the biggest stories of the week. So what do you got, Russell? Who's your winner?
My winner circle person for this week is defensive end Chris Long. Now, Chris Long has been a really good player in the NFL for about 10 years plus now. That's the brother of Kyle Long, right guard for the Chicago Bears, and son of Howie Long, who's an analyst on Fox. Chris Long has been in the forefront of the equality movement and in support of equal rights for all minorities for a long time. Yes. And he's done a really good job of being the forefront of the whole Charlottesville thing, because he's from Charlottesville. He went to UVA, played there.
Did not know
and
that.
After the Charlottesville thing happened, he donated his first 6 game checks to scholarships in Charlottesville, free equal education And then it came out today that Chris Long is donating the rest of his 10 game checks for this season to all the places he played. So he played for the Patriots, he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles right now, and they started his career with St. Louis Rams. So he's donating his last 10 game checks to educational programs created to create educational quality for all students in inner cities. So really big shout out to Chris Long. You really need people who walk the walk and talk the talk, and he's been doing it for over a decade now. So really good job by Chris Long.
That's a bad white boy. Eric, take notes.
Yeah.
Cause your people don't be giving no money away. So
We give money away. We give money away in contracts, you know, contracts. You know, Joel Embiid, he can tell you, my people give the money away. Okay, we give the money away.
Right. That's not the kind of Africans we need y'all to give money to, though.
We started with somebody. We started with Joel Embiid. We'll work our way down.
Russ is like, I hate these niggas.
All right. Who's your winner?
Oh, my winner is Kenley Hansen, the closing pitcher for the Dodgers. He has been amazing. 6-0 in the playoffs, and I think he is definitely one of the biggest parts of that. He comes in. He comes in the last 2 innings or the 9th inning, and he does his thing. He does his job. Don't cause no problems. He's a beast. He's just a good dude. He's from Curacao. I just want to give him a shout out because I think unless your name's not Mariano Rivera, you don't get a lot of love these days as a closing pitcher. So I just want to show him some love. Kenley, keep it going. Let's win the World Series.
I'm kind of shocked because we were at the Arsenal together, and when Justin Turner hit the home run, you're like, Justin Turner is a god! And he didn't even make your winner circle?
I already talked about him, though.
Oh, okay.
You can't give gingers too much love, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay. I'll just learn not to listen to you when you say someone's a god. But for me, the winner circle, I'm just going to keep it simple. McKayla Maroney.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about anything involved in this. I just want to talk about your courage, and you're the winner today.
That face she made in that meme, that was gold.
Yeah, that was really funny, by the way. Side note, that actually always made me laugh.
So she wins.
That's just cool as hell. Yeah, she's very brave for what she did, very courageous. And so the opposite, the pure opposite of McKayla Maroney, the podium of shame. Let's get into it. Who are your 3 the worst people in the sports this week? Who do you got?
Can I go first?
Yes.
Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
Dog, you're a loser. Like straight up, you're a loser. Like it's ridiculous how he does this thing where he tries to sit on the fence so much. We know where you're leaning, bro. Like stop. Just tell the truth. Just say you don't care about what's going on in the world. You just want your check, and you want the players to fall in line. We know who you are. Stop trying to fake. So first of all, he does this thing where they don't enforce the rule where players have to stand for the national anthem. They don't make that a rule. He convinces the owners not to do that. But then he also says in his statement, I think with all of our fans that I think our fans want the players to stand for the national anthem and respect the country, and that's our statement as NFL. We want the players to do so too. So, okay, so you don't make the rule for them to do it, but then you're going to basically tell them this is what you need to do in the press conference. And then you say your fans want the players to do this. That means you're overlooking a lot of fans that are this color, because I don't give a damn about them standing up or not. And there's a lot of fans that don't either. Black, white, Asian, whatever. They care more. They actually care about black people and people of color being oppressed. And so the thing is, Roger Goodell cares more. And he said, basically, he discounts the protest because he said there's only about a half dozen players protesting. That's not true. There's been so many more players to protest over the last couple of weeks. Is it for the right reasons? We can talk about that later. But he says hopefully over the next coming weeks we can get that down to 0 by talking to the players. No, you're not going to get it down to 0 because you're not doing anything about the issue that they started protesting for at hand in the first place. And so we see these people in power like Roger Goodell caring more about getting black people to shut up than actually fixing the problems that we're talking about. We shut up if you did something to fix the problem. There's so many people in power in the NFL and so much money that they can work with politicians to pass legislation for police reform and things to de-escalate these events and all these kind of things. But he doesn't want to do that because that's either, I guess, outside of his job description, and it's just when you don't care about something, it's easy to overlook it. And so he continues to play the fence like he's like this politician, like Hillary Clinton, like one day he's right, one day he's left. Mm-hmm. And he expects us to just eat it like we're stupid. And so Roger Goodell, you're on my podium of shame. You're a dork. You're a loser. So we need a new commissioner in the NFL, or we just need to start the new Negro NFL. Sway Lee from Ray Shrimmer said if they started a new league, he'd throw in $200,000. So
there you go.
P Diddy, where you at?
Russell, what's your podium of shame this week?
My podium of shame is Luke Kuechly and the Carolina Panthers. Luke Kuechly suffered his third concussion in the last 3 seasons. On Thursday night, they played Thursday night football, yeah. And this was the third recorded concussion in the last 3 years. God knows how many other concussions Luke Kuechly has had. Every reported concussion that he has been very severe. A lot of people will know that 2 years ago, Luke Kuechly suffered a concussion where he was so shook by it, he started like bawling on the field.
Yeah, that was
It had to help him off. He did not know where he was. Functions, they're like, if you separate a shoulder or dislocate a shoulder, after you get the first one, it's a lot easier to get him down the road. And so, like I said, you only know how many concussions Luke Kuechly has had. And I think himself, players aren't going to be able to protect themselves. Let's be honest. You're going to have a guy like Luke Kuechly, who's a football guy, I'll die on a football field. But then we have the Carolina Panthers. How many times do you have to run this guy out here? And he's literally killing himself before you say, all right, like, we know you love playing for the Panthers, but maybe this isn't your thing anymore. Maybe your body's telling you can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that play football and don't have the concussion issues like Luke Kuechly. Some people are just more susceptible. And Luke Kuechly's body is telling him you're more susceptible to concussions than other people.
Yeah. Also,
one thing I'm concerned about is the family and friends of Luke Kuechly. Or anybody like that down and say, hey man, I know you love this game. I know you make a lot of money playing this game, but I want you around for a long time.
Exactly.
And you're not going to do it playing football and running your head in running backs for the next 15 years.
Exactly.
Like if Niles were to continue playing football after high school and he was continuing to get concussion after concussion, I'd be like, look, bro, I know you've become accustomed to the lifestyle that we live, but I want you around here to play with my kids and so they can know their Uncle Niles. I can tell them a story about, hey, back in the day, your uncle used to do this. He could tell them this yourself.
Exactly.
It's just one of those things you kind of wonder where his head's at, where the heads of the parents and family are they their thoughts in his pockets, as opposed to his actual life. Yeah. Because when he's not here anymore, you'd be like, well, I'm suing the NFL.
Right.
No, you should be looking in the mirror because it might be your fault.
Exactly. It's sad because Luke was such a young superstar, and I'm definitely on the side of maybe he should hang it up, man. 'Cause 2, 3, 4 concussions in a row. That's getting to some uncharted waters.
Yeah, it's something that's going to affect the future of the NFL, and it's something they're having trouble with both sides of it. They don't even know how to legislate a proper hit, and then players don't even know how to give a proper hit. Mm-hmm. You saw Kiko Alonso for the Dolphins when he picked up the guy instead of throwing him down.
Yeah.
And it looks funny at the time, but it's like you feel for these guys. They don't even know what to do at the time, and it's like they're caught in between it. And when does it become flag football?
Right.
And so it's something that the NFL needs to think about in the coming years.
Yeah.
All right, we should probably get to my podium of shame, and I really don't think this is the worst person of the week, but I just thought I'd make this personal. I went to the University of Utah versus USC game. It was a really fun game, and we tied the game. We were about to tie the game with a last-second touchdown. We got the touchdown, and instead of going for a point after touchdown, our coach decides to go for 2 for some reason. The whole section was freaking out, saying, "Why are you going for 2? Let's go into overtime." And then they didn't, and now my Utes are not undefeated anymore. Or actually, wait, no, we lost twice now. It's not a great season, but it hurt. It hurt me. So Kyle Whittingham, why'd you go for 2? You're on my podium of shame. It sucks.
Bad coaching.
Yeah.
I was checking the score, and I was like, oh, okay, Eric and them about to win. And then I was like, oh, damn, Aaron and them. Because I checked the game after. But yeah, that was a great podium shame. I think all three, Roger Goodell, Luke Kuechly situation, and just terrible coaching. Like that was definitely the downside of sports this week.
Well, I think Luke Kuechly and it's really the Carolina Panthers. That's really tough. And then Roger
situation.
Goodell, it's two failures of the NFL really. Like what would you?
NFL is taking L's this year, man.
So do you think Roger Goodell?
I'd put Roger Goodell number one because I feel like he could affect the most change right now with the climate that we're in with the league, and he's not taking advantage of that.
Just so you know, I think Roger Goodell is the first person in the history of the show to win multiple medals in the Podium of Shame. So
yeah, he's gotten it a good 3 to 4 weeks we've been doing the show.
He might have all the medals. He might have bronze, silver, and gold. So we're proud of you. We're proud of you, Roger Goodell. Keep maybe get on the winner's circle one week and do something right.
He's a loser.
But yeah, let's go Roger Goodell gold again.
Roger Goodell gold
because he really causes what's happening in silver.
He does.
And then Kyle, it's a bronze, but come on, man.
He's still there.
Come on, man.
But before we close the show, I just want to give a shout out to Tommy Smith, John Carlos, and Peter Norman. They're the three men that stood on the podium that we kind of mocked for our logo and everything, and they without them we wouldn't have got the idea for this show. Thank you to the three of you as athletes for standing up in the 60s for racial discrimination. What you did for holding your fist up was just so brave, and the way you were disrespected, and then years later down the road giving your medals back, I think is still just so disrespectful. And I hold you in the highest regard. I read something about Peter Norman, the Australian guy, the white guy, actually. Because you can only think the nerve-wracking things that were going in his head when this happened. Because he wore like a patch that stood for like inequality when he was on the podium. And when he went back to Australia, he was ostracized. He was a teacher. He wouldn't get hired for any jobs. And like these Olympic athletes in other countries don't get the endorsements and things like that unless your name's Usain Bolt. You know what I'm saying? In the 60s, they weren't shelling cash out for endorsements. He couldn't get a job anywhere. His family couldn't live anywhere without getting death threats. And that didn't stop him. He continued to fight for the rights to Aboriginals in Australia and even for Black Americans. And he just did so much on the social activist side and just kept fighting through it. And I even read where before the 2000 Australian Olympics, the Australian Olympic Committee gave him a chance to condemn Tommy Smith and John Carlos and said they were wrong for what they did and they would not ostracize him anymore. He'd be let back into like the sports community and all that kind of stuff. He said no. He declined that. And so that takes balls. As a white male in that climate, and it's just from what he went through, him taking all that abuse, and I got to give utmost respect to Peter Norman. But yeah, Peter Norman, John Carlos, Tommy Smith, thank you for what you did. We have a logo because of you, and so.
Yeah, Peter Norman, I'm glad to take your place in the podium.
Yeah.
He was one of the greatest sprinters in Australian history. Some people consider him the greatest sprinter in Australian history.
I'm just like, come on, Australia. You either got a guy that fought racial discrimination, and then you got a murderer with no feet. So I'm just like, come on, like let's take the dude that like black people. That's all I'm saying.
He's the fastest guy in your country's history. You should.
And he had feet.
Yeah.
What did Cat Williams call him? Poor little tink tink or something like that. I can make fun of him because he murdered a woman, okay? It's not because he don't have feet. It's because he's a murderer.
Wait, are you talking about the Blade Runner?
The Blade Runner.
Go look up Cat Williams' sketch on Oscar Story.
Dude, so funny.
So he's South African. He's not Australian.
Oh, I thought he was Australian.
He's South African.
Man,
that's why I was confused. I was like,
hey, I'm still funny though.
I'm racist. All white dudes in the Olympics the same to me. If your name not Jeremy Warner, you from Australia.
No, that was funny though.
You know what I'm saying? So hey.
I always want to say Blade Runner, anyways. All right, well, this has been a great episode of the Podium.
I didn't know that dude was South African. I thought he was Australian. I really thought dude was Australian.
Do we all sound alike to you? It's like, do you think I was British?
You're not Australian. I never.
You probably sound more like me and Niles than you, Eric.
Right. I never heard him talk. My bad. Hey, my bad, Australia. My bad. Don't ban me. I'm sorry.
That's great. Well, this has been an amazing episode of the Podium. So Russell Dorsey from Chicago. Eric Abbenante and Niles Abston, the comedians from LA.
You know.
We'll say see you next Thursday on the Podium.